So it's day one in the murder trial of Tupac Shakur allegedly being killed by Duane Keffe D Davis, and everything that we said is coming to pass. It looks like Keffe D's biggest problem in this trial is Keffe D and his words that are coming back to haunt him. Let's get into it. Predictably, as I've stated prior, Keffe D's own words are the most damning thing that he has to face in this whole trial, and the confirmation of that was to hear the prosecuting attorney utter that exact same sentiment.
The one person who has a hard time being silent is Duane Davis.
What he said in his memoir, what he's been saying in interviews for the past 5 to 8 years, are what is going to be used against him to basically bury him. Keffe D is trying to rebrand himself as some model citizen, but pouring syrup on shit don't make it pancakes. We know what it is. And it's one thing for us to call this out in the community and here on YouTube, but when we see that the prosecuting attorney is going to go at this strategy with everything he's got, shout out to the homie. The prosecution made tons of references to just how mouthy Keffe D is and how that is going to be a detriment to the prospect of him ever seeing the light of day again. So to those of you out there like myself who saw this coming a mile away, you are vindicated. Listen to how the prosecuting attorney just keeps hammering away at how mouthy Keffe D is and how he continues to incriminate himself. Check this out.
Duane Davis made sure that the shooters were armed and ready to execute their revenge. And remarkably, you will learn that from Duane Davis himself. You will learn that from Duane Davis himself. Trayvon Lane and the death row group sees Orlando Anderson standing by himself, and they decide to attack him in retribution for what happened at the Lakewood Mall. And you will hear from Duane Davis what happens next. What happened over the next 2.5 hours is something Duane Davis would later describe himself in the secret 2008 interview from his attorney's office with the federal task force. The one person who has a hard time being silent is Duane Davis. Davis's public admissions mirror his private life. He admits to being a leader of Southside Crips. He admits to the significance of the fight over the death row chain at the Lakewood Mall. He admits to being in Las Vegas the night of the fight. He admits to being angry that Tupac stomped Orlando Anderson at the MGM. He admits that he was hunting down Tupac and Suge, first going to 662. He admits that he got a Glock 40 from Eric Zip Martin for the purposes of hunting Tupac. He admits that he was in a white Cadillac with his gang members looking for Tupac. He admits to seeing Tupac in a black BMW and then changing directions, making that U-turn to confront Tupac and Suge. He admits to putting the gun he obtained that night in the backseat of the vehicle so the shooters could shoot.
What he's doing is so simple yet so powerful. This man gave you all of this information, and now he's trying to recant and renege on the information that he gave you. You just throw it right back up in his face and give the details on it as he gave the information in context. That's exactly what he is doing, and that is an extremely powerful strategy. Next, he goes into talking about how Keffe D facilitated the hunt for Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. He's the one who actually got all the guys together and told them what to do, gave them their marching orders, got the cars together, got the weapons, so forth and so on. He starts talking about that next, and he plays the tape. So you can lie about things all you like and say, I didn't do that. Oh, that's not me. Oh, that must be a misunderstanding. But when people start going back over things and playing them to you in context and giving you the sequence of events that took place that actually happened that you talked about on tape, how you gonna deny that?
So later, Duane Davis organizes 2 vehicles to go over to the 662 Club. Before that, he gets the gun from Zip Martin. He goes out to his Mercedes-Benz, gets the gun from Zip Martin, and then after some time, he assembles 2 cars to go to 662 to violently confront Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight for the beating of his nephew. And you'll hear that Duane Davis wasn't initially in the white Cadillac. He goes into a van, and Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, they go in a white Cadillac, and they go to Club 662, waiting for Tupac Shakur, waiting for Suge Knight, waiting for this violent confrontation. And what you'll learn is that Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight don't show up while they're there.
We went out to 626, they didn't show up. We waited about 15, 20 minutes, they didn't show up. So, it's like, I showed you some liquor. Stopped at the liquor store. I got out the hand, they had to jump in the Cadillac.
So what you hear Duane Davis say is he got out of the van and goes into the Cadillac. And the plan at that point is to go to a liquor store, get some booze, and then go back to the Las Vegas Strip and party. What the original intention was before Orlando Anderson was beaten at the MGM Grand. But on the way back to the Las Vegas Strip, they see a caravan of cars. And that caravan included Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight.
They were on their way back to the Strip, and then they turned around to go and confront Tupac and Suge. This was a hunt. And then he just outright describes the murder. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He flat out describes how they murdered Tupac Shakur. You cannot make this stuff up. He just laid it all out in black and white, how they murdered Tupac. Let's make no mistakes. This was a hunt. They went after Tupac and Suge, and when they caught them, they took action. This is very clear. They detail it in the tape.
In that white Cadillac, before the shooting occurs, Duane Davis explains that the driver is Terrence T-Brown. In the rear driver's side is Deandrae Dre or Big Dre Smith. In the rear passenger side is Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. And Duane Davis himself, Keffe D, is in the front passenger side. And this is how Duane Davis explains the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah. He was a little bit short right there. Then we came up armed at the Las Vegas Boulevard. Here he come that BMW and gave you car. And brawls, Tupac. We like, there you go. Made a U-turn. We wasn't supposed to make it. Just wanted a U-turn. They was in the middle lane. We just pulled up on the side, checked every car to see where they was.
So what directed your attention to him was some girl shouting at Tupac?
Tupac! He gave his son away. Otherwise, they would have gone away. He all had nothing. What you want to do?
You did a U-turn, so then you pull alongside of it. You got to in the car. Have you already handed him the gun at this point, or at what point you handed him the gun?
I thought he was going to pull alongside. You know, that's one of them that going to look out for him. You know, he pulled on his side.
So you were fitting to blast if you had to, or you were just...
Yeah, we would have been on my side, I would have.
Okay. So you hand the gun to the back seat.
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah, Dre was like, no. And Lane's like, dude, wow.
So what you hear Duane Davis admit that as they see Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight driving to Club 662, Duane Davis, along with Terrence Brown, Deandrae Smith, and Orlando Anderson, decide to make a U-turn, confront Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. Duane Davis has the firearm. It's a firearm he got from Eric Bonzett Martin, and then he passes it to the back. Duane Davis says that if they were on his side, if Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight were on his side of the vehicle, he would have shot them himself. But because they were on the other side, he handed it to Deandrae Smith. Deandrae Smith, according to Duane Davis, did not want to shoot at that time, so Orlando Anderson shot into that car.
People, I'm not sure how much clearer you can get than that. Did you hear this fool say that if it would have been on his side of the car, that he would have popped in? The only reason he said that he didn't actually pull the trigger is because it was on the other side of the car. That's his rationale. People, this man is never going home, and it's because of Keffe D. Keffe D has made the best possible case for Keffe D spending life in prison that I've ever heard anyone do against themselves in court. It is remarkable. And then the prosecution pivots to establishing motive, because every time that Keffe D speaks about Tupac, he gets enraged. To this day even. Well, very recently, there's a video of Keffe D talking with his son, and he is just banging on Tupac, just talking disparagingly about him over and over again, about how he's a rapist and he ain't no icon, he's a F word. He's just trashing Tupac. as recently as 2024 in a conversation with his son. And you're like, this fool don't know that his calls are being recorded. And this is something that I said in my prior video. All of these things are evidence. And it's like it doesn't click in his head. You are a criminal. You're in jail. You're on a hot phone. You can't just say any and everything. It will be used against you in court.
And what you'll notice is a constant thing that always goes through these statements is Duane Davis's visceral anger at Tupac Shakur for putting hands on his nephew. In the book, he says, them jumping on my nephew gave us the ultimate green light to do something to their rights. What remains, even as late as 2020, 2021, 22, is Duane Davis's visceral anger at Tupac Shakur.
Tupac didn't jump over here. He was by himself.
He didn't just, my nephew never jumped over Tupac. Come on, man. Tupac was wrong with 2 levels. Don't you think he was wrong? Honestly.
I mean, yeah, I think he could have, reacted in a better way.
You listen, homie. You don't think that man is wrong?
He could have reacted in a better way, I guess.
I'm talking. Vlad is the biggest fan. He admitted that man is wrong, man.
He was wrong, man, but that was only done out of loyalty, man.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. He never jumped. My nephew didn't jump on him. He jumped on my nephew. He was a kid, man. My nephew was a kid. He was a grown ass man, dude. You know what I'm saying? He was a kid, dude. That's why he had on the channel. He was a kid, dude. You know what I'm saying? They was wrong. My nephew never jumped on him. They jumped on my nephew. My nephew didn't throw a punch, man. Wrong, dude. Jumped on a kid, dude.
And this anger is not just demonstrated publicly, but you will hear as recently as 2024, privately, in a conversation with his son. He talks about his feelings about Tupac Shakur, nearly 30 years after the murder.
I was way out there before him, dude. I know he's Dr. Dre. Oh, we is a little cracky. You know what I'm saying? Fucking ass. All the great little girls, jumping on little kids, all the way to fuck casino. That dude's a piece of shit. So,
everything like this said, very well, my dear.
Great.
28 years later, that is the visceral anger that Duane Davis had for Tupac Shakur.
The prosecution then called him out for trying to talk out of both sides of his mouth about his book because he's always said that this book was so great. He's on the internet holding it up. He's talking about how it's so official. Everything in it is correct. And then once the charges started coming, oh, he didn't really write the book. He doesn't want anything to do with the book, but you have him promoting the book. You have him promoting a reality show about death row where you can only find out the information that's supposedly real and raw coming from him. He's the star of the show, but yet and still you didn't do any of this stuff. You can't be all Hollywood about a crime and then back away from it when people start to say, whoa, this guy's actually confessing to committing a felony. It is what it is. You said what you said. They called him out every which way.
In 2017, Duane Davis decides to go public. He's approached by the producers of a show called Death Row Chronicles that appears on BET. And this is just a small portion of what he says is his motivation for appearing.
Anyway, TV days, I was popping, kingpin, drug dealer. I'm the only one alive that really can tell you the story about the Tupac show. People have been pursuing me for 20 years. Newspapers, magazines. I'm going out now to tell the story because I got cancer. I got nothing else to lose. All I care about now is the truth.
Duane Davis says, all I want to do now is tell the truth. And in the 2017 public interview, he's a little evasive, but he admits to being the boss. He admits to being in the White Cadillac, and he admits to be part of the murder of Tupac Shakur. And when he says he's the only person that can tell what happened, he's right. Because by 2017, Terrence Brown is deceased. Deandrae Smith is deceased. Orlando Baby Lane Anderson is deceased. Terrence Brown was murdered in an unrelated incident. Orlando Anderson was murdered in an unrelated incident. And Deandrae Smith died. Remarkably, in 2019, Duane Davis then decides he's going to publish his own book. And with regards to the book, it is certainly a lot of self-aggrandizement. But again, the core remains. He was mad about Orlando Anderson about the beating of Orlando Anderson, his nephew. He was in Las Vegas. He got the gun. He was in the White Cadillac, and he handed the gun to the shooters.
So these are some of the many ways that the prosecution is calling Keffe D out, and this is their strategy going forward. They have factual information, they have recordings, they have dates, they have times, they have everything they need. They seem to have an all-you-can-eat buffet of Keffe D just snitching on himself, and they're going at him every second. On the other side, the defense, it's like the Mickey Mouse Club coming to court. This fool gets up there, his so-called attorney gets up there talking about how basically his client is a liar and he's known for bullshit. He actually put this on the screen in the court. His client is a liar and he's known for bullshit. That's their defense. This man is going to jail for 1,000 years. He said this nonsense in trial, and then they interviewed him after the trial, and he doubled down on it. Keffe D's attorney is making the case to the public that his client is a liar, which brings to mind to any logical thinking person, well, if he's a liar, then why should we believe him now? Predictably, he was asked that by a reporter after court, and he gave some ridiculous answer because there is no real answer to that question. And so here we are. But this is what he's trying to sell people on. This is their strategy. To be clear, on the prosecution side, we have real adult conversations. We have real information. We have times. We have dates. We have clarifications. We have a plethora of evidence. On the defense side, we have amateur hour in the courtroom. It is utter bullshit. I don't know what the hell they're doing in this trial.
At the time that he gives his statement to the task force in 2008, there's another individual that's still alive. They never interviewed that individual to verify if that information was true. Why not? Because the FBI just fell asleep, that the LAPD just didn't care. Keffe was never charged for any of what he said during that time period. And it's because they knew he was full of crap. Keffe was never charged for any of what he said during that time period. And it's because they knew he was full of crap. Otherwise they would have. Why wouldn't they? When we look at fact versus fiction, really at the end of the day, what you're going to hear from witnesses that will testify to this is that Keffe D was known to do this. That's the testimony you're going to hear in this case. That's what you're going to hear about that man right there. And so you have to ask yourself the question, if I just say things, is that going to end up being one of those things where I'm going to be headed up for a murder if I just keep repeating that fiction?
Yeah, you're essentially telling the jury that your client is a liar.
Yep, I am. Yes,
that's
true.
Well, that's the question. How do you think it's going to go down?
I hope it goes down well. But at the end of the day, we'll see what the jury says. This is the first day of trial, so we don't have all the information yet. But I think once we develop all the information, we'll see what kind of case this state really has.
Just one follow-up question about the believability of Keffe D. He said that he was in that car, that he provided the gun, that he placed himself in that white Cadillac, and now he says that he wasn't. If you want the jury to believe your client, and yet you're saying that he's a liar, why should they believe him this time around?
Isn't that the conundrum, though? Is that what version of events are you going to choose? That's the problem with the case. There's no clear answer to the question you're asking.
Bro, you going to jail. You might get 500 years because the judge is pissed off at you for wasting her time. What the hell kind of a defense is that? This is how your lawyer is speaking. My client is a liar, but believe him now, even though the entirety of the time that he's speaking in these clips, he's telling lies. And he's known to bullshit, so you should just give him a pass. What? What are we talking about? And then there's the other part of the defense's argument about Keffe D not being in Vegas on the night of the murder. And then there's the other part of the defense's argument about Keffe D not being in Vegas on the night of Tupac's murder. There's already an interview out there of an interviewer calling him out for his BS in mid-interview because of the fact that in his book, there is a picture of him and his sister at the fight in Vegas. That's what it says anyway. And his response was that he didn't write that book. And we've seen Keffe D any number of times talk about how he wrote the book. Everything in the book is correct and everything in the book is true. So which one is it? Either you were lying then or you're lying now. You can find that in my last video. But this was the exchange that convinced me that Keffe D is full of shit and his entire case is going to fall apart if this is all he has.
I would like to send how my family's in danger and stuff like that, and how I wasn't even in Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't in Vegas when this stuff happened. I just said that stuff to get out of trouble.
So you were not in Las Vegas? You're saying September 7th, 1996?
No, I wasn't. They can't prove I was in Las Vegas. I wasn't in Las Vegas.
I do want to mention, you had said that you were not in Vegas the night that Tupac died when there was the Mike Tyson fight. Again, I read your this book. Every single page, you included a picture of your sister and yourself at the fight.
That wasn't no fight. Why would I wear an overcoat in September? That's what, I had no fight. Why would I wear an overcoat and a hat? I had a suit on and an overcoat. That was a New Year's party. That was a New Year's party.
So it says over here, me and my sister at the fight.
I didn't argue that book. That dude just put that stuff in there. He ain't had no fight. September the 7th, it'll be 115 degrees. What I want to wear a suit with an overcoat on and a hat. Don't make sense.
So
go back and look at the degrees on that September. You think I'll wear that in September 7th? Come on now. A suit with an overcoat on and a hat.
So that's your defense of this, that you could not have been wearing an overcoat and a hat in September because it was too warm? And you're talking about how, oh, the guy just put this information in the book to sensationalize things and kind of trying to write that book off as not being official when you came out and co-signed the book yourself, saying how official it was and how everything in this book was 100% true.
Y'all need to go buy that book. Compton Street Legend.
And I'll get everybody the whole book.
Yeah. You don't have to say something for them,
Yeah.
And we're going to do a doc. So, yeah.
So where can everybody
get
it?
We can get more detail to that. Where can they get the book?
Yeah.
It's on Amazon, Compton Street Legends, and it's going to be in Barnes & Noble's September the 15th. Yeah. It's a good read, and it's the truth, and it's stamped, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no reason to lie.
Bruh, you are going to jail for a very long time. Period. There is zero chance that this fool gets off in any capacity. He is going to be in jail till goddamn Judgment Day. I'm just saying. That's what I think. Make sure y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you know when we go live or upload a new video. Major Gauge Podcast, we lit. All right.
Major Gauge Podcast. Like, comment, and subscribe.